YouTube. What's up, guys? Robert Thompson here. The little update video. I did actually record a reaction video with my friend who came in from Chicago. It would have been Thursday night, so about a week ago now. But I was drunk and the mic wasn't on for some reason. So, yeah, we didn't actually say anything. Oh well, it was a good night, and I'm glad to have had that night out. I also turned the second draft of that script I was working on in tonight. I'm hoping that it's what they want, and I'm hoping I didn't miss anybody that had bought into roles, so I apologize to all of you working on Bermuda Island if you bought in and I missed anything. I'm sorry. It is about probably 3:30 in the morning now. And later today, I go and see a psychologist for the first time. I'm curious to see how that's going to go because I've never really been a fan of that profession. So I'm hopeful that it goes. He's following up with me post-stroke about a couple things that I'm worried about, and I actually scheduled the appointment like 2 months ago, and they're just now getting to it. Apparently, because of coronavirus, everything is backed up, and they are severely understaffed for how many people struggled through last year. So, yeah, it is what it is. The fact is that a lot of people who suffer strokes are a lot of stroke survivors get very angry. A lot of them get short fuses. I know my mom did when she had her stroke. She had a short fuse. If you said something that she could shrug off before her stroke, after her stroke it would piss her off and she would snap pretty shockingly intensely. Whereas my dad had the opposite effect. He had a short fuse beforehand, but when he had a stroke, he mellowed out a little bit. Me personally, I find myself not caring about anything, and that's what I'm hoping to talk to him about. A couple nights ago, I caught the back end of a baby deer with the front of my car. It came out of nowhere. A whole family of deer actually did, and I caught the one at the end. By the time I turned around to check on it, it couldn't walk. I busted its back legs. and it screamed. I didn't know that deer could do that, but it did. And it was trying to get away, but it couldn't walk anymore. I felt awful. I called the non-emergency police line and, let them know that I needed somebody out. They sent 2 officers out who I appreciate them doing a quality professional job. Thank you, sirs, for what you did for the animal. But as soon as he got out and saw it, he was like, I got to put it down. He was like, there's no other choice. Which made me feel terrible, all things considered. But I was like, I want to stay. It's my obligation. If I can, I want to stay and watch you do it, just to make sure that it's not that I was worried he wouldn't do it or wouldn't take care of it. I wanted to be sure that I saw that it was put out of its misery, that I put it in, which he said was fine. So I did, and I stood there and watched him. He took out a shotgun and loaded it, and then took one shot to the head to put it out of its misery. And I stood there watching him do that, and as he did it, the only thought that crossed my mind and that I couldn't help but think was, if the world ended tomorrow and I had to hunt, and I somehow lived and had to hunt in order to survive, I could now do it. There was no... I had no emotional connection to watching it happen. I felt bad for hitting it and causing it its death, but watching him finish it off, I didn't. And that's, in a nutshell, how I feel about everything now. I just don't care about anything. I worked on this draft for this script, and I turned in a different script to another friend that I worked on in between these 2 drafts. And I busted it out in like 10 days. And normally, I'm happy to do that. And normally it's easy to do that. But since my stroke, my creative ability and my ability to sit down and focus on multiple things at once is just not existent. The simple fact is that I used to argue that I would have argued that my ambition and my work ethic and my ability to juggle different scripts and different projects and wanting to direct and all that stuff was what set me apart professionally. Now I just don't feel it. And now with these lockups taking place, on this side of my body, my right side, every time my right side, and it lasts between 30 seconds and 3 minutes, depending on how it sets in. And it's just locking up. And my doctor and I both believe that it's what are called TIAs, which are mini strokes. I'm very tired, and my body is that part of my body is just wore out. It's muscle fatigue all the way through, and like my wrist and stuff. Like for years now, I've needed carpal tunnel surgery, and now I don't care about the pain that I feel within my wrist anymore because it's given out on that side. Um, my doctor suggested that I consider applying for disability, but the fact is I don't know if I've worked enough to qualify for whichever social security or social security disability you get. You can get both. um, I don't know that I've worked enough for one, and I don't know if the other will be enough to cover the mortgage here, let alone my bills for the month. um, and of course, keeping the animals and taking care of the animals remains my biggest concern. I can't get rid of them. I can't lose them. So he suggested I do that, but I also know that my parents did it, and even my dad, who was a disabled veteran, and my mom, who had a stroke and was as bad, if not worse, than I am. Um, it took both of them years, and they had to hire lawyers and all of that nonsense. And the very thought of having to go through all that just to get whatever disability is worth is exhausting. He steps up. My cat Severus is at my feet. Hey, buddy. Hang on, I'm talking to people online. But yeah, I don't. With what I get paid for the second draft, I've got it budgeted out. God, I hope I do. To get me through the end of the year, it's coming very close. I know right now, as of this moment, I have probably less than $100 in my bank account, so I'm still paying the bills and everything, and keeping track of everything. But man, there's been a couple months where I forgot, the electric bill or whatever. Um, so I'm having to go back and pay shit, which is fine. Sorry, I get these random, like, numb feelings up here through my skull, and I just have to let it settle for a moment. Um, part of me wonders if it would have just been easier if I wouldn't have made it when I had my stroke. The doctor already said he didn't understand how I did, so I go back and forth feeling that way. And I suppose I'm not supposed to feel that way, but... And I can't tell anymore if it's stroke shit or if it's depression shit before I had a stroke, because currently I don't feel anything. I don't feel sad. I don't feel like I want to end my life. It just is. And I'm hoping the doctor can subscribe something, can say whatever needs to be said to trigger that to change. But yeah, I wish this was a good news type of video for you guys, but the fact is that I'm having 20 or so of these lockups a day, and I'm tired and I hurt. And if I'm having TIAs, that's a strong indicator that I'm going to have a second stroke. So yeah, it's, a week into October, and I don't know how the rest of this year is going to go. So I do hope that you all are taking care of yourselves. I know that last year was a tremendous burden on many people, and if you're one of them, I hope that you are making it all right. And I hope I have some good news sooner rather than later to share. Yeah. Please like and subscribe. I know that this video of all of them is not overly positive, but I do have over 200 followers now, which I am grateful for every single one of you that take the time to subscribe. Let's hit 500 and then 1,000. And yeah, this attitude, or whatever you want to call it, will subside. I just wanted to share an update of what's going on. These lockups just have me very tired, and mentally I'm drained. But I'm hoping between the psychologist and hopefully getting some sleep tonight will change both of those things. So, yeah. Take care, you guys.